Hello, this is Greg Bates from Treeman USA, and today I'm going to talk about some of my chainsaws and why I use them and why I like them. So first I'm going to start with this Husqvarna 395 XP. This saw is a big wood saw. It's a great saw. This model was made in the 90s and they continue to still make it, I believe. And it's a great saw for cutting big wood. It loves big wood. So that's what I like about it. It just rips through big wood, but there are also things that I don't like about it, like the chain tensioner is in an awkward place. It's right here behind the inner dog and the bar, and instead of being on the side, which is kind of inconvenient. And then another thing is, you know, it vibrates a lot because it's a big saw, but it seems like a lot of the nuts, and bolts kind of rattle loose. And even this choke here, if you hold the saw on its side and you're cutting into, say, a stump, it'll want to wiggle itself back in, and wiggle itself out, and it'll shut the saw off. And also I noticed in here, these nuts that hold this plate on that covers the spark plug and everything, the actual threads that the nuts go into kind of got wallowed out from so much vibrations, and so I'm gonna try to find a way to remedy that. I guess I'll have to get them rethreaded, but so anyway, it does have a few issues, but I mean, if you're mechanically inclined, they can be easily fixed. But I give it a 9 out of 10 because, I mean, it just eats up big wood. Like, I have a still that's this size, which I think, you know, is just as good, but it doesn't quite cut as fast as this one does in big wood. So, all right, that is the Husqvarna 395 XP. And it is 94 cubic centimeter size engine. So that's pretty big. And next here, we got this guy. This is nice. 461. I've got aftermarket dogs on it. What did I do? Took the screens off the muffler. I got a Max Flow air filter. It's a great saw. It rips. Really no complaints on this one. You know, this saw's been through a lot. I've probably had it, let's see, 6 years, 7 years. And you know, it's probably got, I think it's 71 cubic centimeters, the size of the engine. But it's a great saw. You know, it cuts big wood. Good saw for like limbing really big trees. And then you move over to that when you go cut the trunk. So the 461. All right. Oh. That was a loose bolt, just fell out of the 395. Okay. I was just kidding. But this right here is a 441C. So I guess that means 441 computer regulated carburetor or something. I don't like it because of that, but I fooled with it, and I've got it to cut pretty good. It has had some issues. The coil, let's see, getting it to kind of, it either be too lean or too rich. It just seemed kind of like, even, you know, I bought it at a Hurricane at the only saw shop that was open near Panama City. So I needed another saw because actually, yeah, the 461 had a tree fell on it. So while we were fixing that, one of the guys needed another saw, a good cutting saw, but not another one that big. So we got the 441, which is, it goes back to the 440, the 044, which were like the Cadillac of chainsaws. They were like the one, everybody had one. I don't see many people with the 441, but I like the 441 now that I've messed with it and got it to cut good. I got aftermarket dogs. You can get a filter kit for it. I didn't do that. But yeah, it's a good saw. It's just, they seem to kind of come with issues. It's kind of like the 440 was awesome, and then they made the 441, and it's like, you have to measure up to the predecessor, and it just didn't. But kind of like with the 201T and the 200T. Like, I sold my 200Ts not knowing that the 201T would kind of make me a little unhappy. I've got two of them. They're acceptable, they're decent, but they're not like the 200T. They're just not as good. So, yeah. This right here is a 271. This saw is decent. It's a little heavy. It's bigger. It's a size up from the 261, which I'll talk about later in another video, which is an awesome saw that I think is underrated. I got two 261s and I use them in a tree when I'm climbing. They're awesome saws. They got lightweight, a lot of horsepower. But anyway, back to this one. This saw is decent. I mean, it's a little heavy for as light as saws are now. It's a good saw when you have big jobs and there's a new guy who's familiar with the chainsaw, but not that familiar with the chainsaw. He can use this one, and it's got an anti-kickback chain on it. Kind of keep it safe. It doesn't dull as easy. So that's what I have this saw for. Now, here's one of my 201s. It's a 201 TC. The guys at the saw shop can't really fix it. The saw shops around here, I live in Jackson, Mississippi. I mean, they're good saw shops, but they fix the ones they sell. And they can kind of do the basic stuff, but I haven't found one that can like modify the saw or really work on it. Like, I used to live in Atlanta, and you just take it to this one saw shop and they could do anything to any saw. And so that's kind of been frustrating here. So I've kind of had to do my own repairs, which is okay, but it's time consuming. Even though it's a little motor, a little, machine, it takes time to take them apart and do all that. So that's my 201T. I do have another one. That's a 201TC. I have another one that's the 201T. This here is a Husky little trim saw, $435. I bought it because it was cheap. It's decent, but here's the problem. Even the saw shop I bought it from, if something happens to it, they just don't know how to work on this one. I don't know what the deal is. So, had to do it myself. It's okay. It's decent. This is an Echo. I believe this is a 330, a 355T. Yeah, this is a good saw. And the handle's cool, real ergonomic. Also, the place that I bought this from sells Echo equipment. They happen to have a climbing saw at the time. But I've taken it back to them, and they kept it for like 6 months. And I finally just went up there and got it, and it took them forever to find it, and they didn't even fix it right. So, you know, it's just really frustrating. But this is, you know, this is a good saw. I want to get, you know, a 200T, but they're trying to sell them for like $1,000 now, which, you know, I get it. But I just don't feel the need, you know, justified. I got 4 climbing saws. Well, really 3 performance climbing saws, and this one's kind of a, you know, trim saw. And then there's the Husqvarna battery operated professional climbing saw that I've been kind of researching, and it looks like it's really good too. But to get that and the backup batteries, that you're looking at least $1,000. So you know, I've got 4 climbing saws, so I just don't feel like it'd be kind of foolish to buy a new one right now. You know, unless I'll just sell some of these. But anyway, yeah, I'm Greg Bates from Tree Man USA. These are some of the saws I use. And yeah, if you have any questions or comments, just, you know what to do. Thank you.